are there any places in Eretz Yisrael that the Rav would consider to have the status of mukaf? And what is the Rav's view on that issue of whether any towns, whether there are any towns in Eretz Yisrael where you'd have to keep Shushan Purim, other than Yerushalayim?
That's a good question. Not a very simple question. Historically, for centuries, we all know that this has been the case in Yerushalayim. And I should also just say briefly with regards to Yerushalayim, there are those. Initially, this view was expressed by Hagon Arav Michal Tukchinsky. But going back 100 years or so, he claimed that the status of Yerushalayim with regards to Shushan Purim, or Purim de Mukafim, only applies 2,000 amah, roughly a kilometer, from the walls of the old city. And he even mentions that therefore the cutoff point is a certain house on a certain street in Geula. He mentions the house and the number of the house in that street. In other words, up to that point it's Yerushalayim, and from that point onwards it's not Yerushalayim any longer. No well-known Rabbanim that as far as I know, ever agreed with this position, and I certainly do not agree with that position. I think that as long as Yerushalayim, as long as we're talking about one continuous metropolis, a great city which there's no clear break, and then a clear empty area, and then another yeshuv or another town. As long as we're talking about one continuous place, Yerushalayim begins at the center in the old city. But as long as, if it expands over time, okay, that's the natural way of the world. When Chazal said that Karach mukefet homa reasonably on tethwal, this certainly took into account the fact and the possibility and almost the certainty that such a place over time will expand, or is likely to expand, and it will not remain the same size, cover the same area for all time. Over time, cities tend to grow. So that was part of the takana. Now, with regards to other parts of Eretz Yisrael, it seems to me that in Hebron, it should be Dafka on Tethwell, and I can't really see why there should be a safek, although some serious Rabbanim, local Rabbanim there have said otherwise. The same I would say with regards to Beth El. There's next to no doubt at all that present-day Beth El is samuch v'nireh to the original Beth El, which was definitely mukefet homa in the time of Yoshua bin Nun. But actually, there are further questions with regards to this, because it's possible that the intention, although this is not what's the usual practice, but it's possible that the original intention of Hazal was that any major city, that's really what they had in mind, should be considered a Ir Mukefet Homa. With regards to certain places that are mentioned in the Tanakh, as someone just mentioned on the chat, we don't know exactly we don't always know exactly where that place was. Sometimes we do. In the case of Beth El, I believe we know very well. And there are certain other examples perhaps as well. But this is a more involved question. So we'll leave it at that for now.
Thank you, Rabbi Bar-Hayim. We would like to encourage our viewers to share these videos with friends and send in your responses. We would also like to suggest the following opportunity to our viewers. If you identify with Rabbi Bar-Hayim's message and would like to sponsor or dedicate a video interview with the rabbi in honor or memory of a loved one, if you would like to obtain Birkon Nusach Eretz Yisrael or invite the rabbi for a speaking engagement, please email us at office@machonshilo.org. If you are inspired by Rabbi Bar-Hayim's message and would like to get involved in Torah Eretz Yisrael activities in your local area, please fill out the relevant form by going to the link which appears on the screen.